Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order, Last Days of Europe, with me, Alpha Omega, and Empire of Japan. And what an empire it is, with political instability and collapsing economy. But things are starting to look a little bit brighter. We now have a Prime Minister, Kaya Okinori. We will soon fix the political instability, at least partly, because we're going to get a little bit of political power, which should in a couple of weeks get us out from the dumps. I also have the positive news that we can still rectify the situation in the Philippines. I actually went ahead and I calculated the options that we have here, and if you calculate with me, I think we are going to be able to make it. So, send in experts is 14 days, expand business ties is 14 days, active for 14 days, promote Philippine democracy, so that's 3 times 14 days. Then you got additional then you have 20 days here and 20 days here, which all together is, I think, 75 days, if I'm calculating correctly. Hold on. 82 days. Okay, so that's 82 days together. And that together gives us 75%. And we have 25% coming from here. And it's going to be active for 27 days. And we will still be left with 90 days. So 90 days is more than 82 days, which will give us those 75% that we're missing. It will be heavily dependent on whether or not we'll be able to get enough political power. But I think we will, because in 27 days we will definitely have at least some. We might be able to start with the send the experts, expand business ties, and they all cost just 10, while we're getting slightly over 1 per day. Hopefully, if we take the emergency price fixing, then we can get promote Filipino democracy and some other stuff, but there might be something that would give us... Okay, the new cabinet also gives us 25, and then we can make one choice here, and any of those will give us additional political power. So we might barely make it. It's gonna be a little bit, dependent on whether or not we're gonna get hit with any other bad events. But if we won't, we have a chance. So, bright future for the restructuring of Philippines, or reconstruction. What's it called? I think reconstruction? Yeah, the reconstruction of the Philippines, not restructuring. I mean, part of it is, of course, restructuring as well, but yep. I'm looking forward to the new cabinet, because that should give us actually also some... No, I don't see... Interesting. I wonder when we're gonna get our ministers, because we don't have any. We have just a head of government who is giving us a little bit of political power gain, but we don't have any ministers, and nothing in there says that we will get any. Interesting. Okay, another ship is ready. The Presidium... Wait, what? The Presidium of the Supreme Soviet declared war on the Free State of Magadan. Okay. That actually is a good thing for us. Who are you at war with? Irkutsk. Okay, because now Magadan will fight on 2 sides, which might give Amur, chance to recover. But we'll see. I'm not really hopeful. I really don't have high hopes for our co-prosperity sphere member. I'll give you that. We still continue to build more ships here. I don't know if I actually cancelled it or not. I didn't. Okay, so we're just gonna build... Okay, just 1 here and infinite here. And we'll keep building a couple of these Soyokaze class destroyers. But I would really like to start upgrading our submarines, because the nuclear engine has already been finished, and that means we need to start building the new submarines. We have already turned this one. Yep, the I-121 is going to be the last one that we're going to build. So after that, we need to start looking into the upgrades and then building new ones. Okay, building more infrastructure and everything, so that's good. The Macedonian War. Since the dawn of the post-war order, Bulgaria has been known for its relative stability among its allies in the Pact. Yet today, even it has been burned by the impending collapse of the Reich. While reports are unclear, so Macedonia, who is okay? So that is an uprising actually. As far as the in the game's mechanic sense goes. While reports are unclear, it seems that the pullback of German troops from Macedonia into Serbia has led to a collapse of the Bulgarian authority in the region. Already several major towns have been overtaken, including Bitola, from which Democratic Federal Macedonia has formed a governing assembly. Insiders in Sofia claim the crisis has had an equal effect in the Bulgarian government as the General Staff revolt against Boris III's methods and demands an end to his controversial army reform project. The Prussia of the Balkans finds its foe. Okay, so the 75 political power is amazing, and we're gonna go for this one next. The first task of any new prime minister is to form a new cabinet. Close associates and talented individuals alike will be selected, and week-long discussions shall be held to understand the position we've been placed in. We must act quickly to garner support and root ourselves in Japanese politics, as the other factions of the Yokosankai look down on our fledgling government with disdain in their eyes. Should we show any vulnerability, they will decimate us without hesitation. Our emperor has given us a chance, but they will not. We shall prove the vultures wrong. So we get political power, factions power, support in the House of Peers, and base stability, but it still doesn't give us any ministers. Finding common ground. Devil you know. I guess it might come from the next choice, we'll see. Okay, free production units, amazing, though it's just for a couple of days. Oh, and it's 22nd of December, so the next year is going to be coming soon. Now, okay, we get still 18 days, and this is our first big issue, because we don't have any political power and we won't have any by the time this one ends. Ah, God. And there really is nothing I can do with that. Unless we get, because we get 1.1, so in 17 days we'll get 18.1. Oh, this is so bad. We just 8 days. We don't have. The political power is gonna bite us in the rear. If we had a little bit more time, just a few more days, it would work. Is there anything we could do to get more political power? I don't think so. No, that sucks. We'll be just... And here I was all happy, but we'll be just short. I'm wondering, is there any chance? Anything I'm missing here? We need just a little bit more. Just a few more. The Covitor will be short, say 4 or 5 days. Well, the Croatian winter. There was a time, perhaps now only remembered by greybeards and idealists, when Croatia was a beacon of tolerance, a multi-ethnic, multi-confessional state that served the interests of the many, not of the few. Now the triumph of the victorious Ustaše seems to guarantee that those days are gone forever. It's hard to imagine what threat undesirables could pose to Croatia, given that Italian rule has brought about their general subjugation. But whatever it is, it's apparently fearsome enough to justify the harsh reprisals currently being conducted by Ustash's stormtroopers. As the blood of the more unworthy flows and jackboots march through yet another European city, Croatia's overlords and protector Italy is already starting to mobilize against the Black Menace at their border. The Italian Empire has already ousted Ustasha once. They will most likely do so again. just look at that. Jesus Christ, Europe is just gone. Holy hell. If I just saved a little bit more political power, we might have had a chance. Wait, one thing that I'm actually thinking about. Perhaps reconstruction may have unforeseen consequences. Our decisions can be quick. I don't know, we'll still try. I'm not entirely sure if it will make a difference at all, or if it won't. From the logic of the thing, I would say that, you know, if you almost finish it, the game should be merciful and give you some kind of leeway, but it is very much likely that it would just be a wasted effort, and we would be doing better if we invested that in our own economy, but well, it's just, you know, not much we can do with that. We'll just do what we can. And who knows? In Muscovian's darkest times, Veliki Luka uprising has robbed Operation Zone Plaskau of destiny's blessing. War is hell. More fighting. Okay, here goes the attack on Magadan. Her Majesty's most loyal resistance have bested Free Britain and taken their first step towards reuniting Great Britain. Bind her, grind her, burn her with fire, cast her ashes into the sea. She shall escape and she shall aspire. She shall arise to make men free. The resistance prevails in Britain. After 20 years of pro-German rule and months of painful bloody conflict, the uprising in Britain has come to an end, with the insurgent forces of the British resistance triumphing over the collaborative government. Finally unchained from the shackles of fascism, the new interim government, led by ex-spy and orchestrator of the Civil War Maxwell Knight, seeks to secure a partnership with the OFN as soon as possible to safeguard this new freedom. Democratic elections are expected to be held soon, with the exiled Conservative and Labour parties expected to field candidates. Celebrations have filled the streets of London and every other major city, although not without a hint of melancholy for all the lives lost in the struggle for a free Britain. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Free Britain. HMMLR Despotism. Maxwell Knight. The mask has fallen. Okay then. Production units, that's fine. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of political power, but Kido Ites, reformist, independent technocrats. The new cabinet. Well, I wonder what can happen in the Philippines. Could they rise again against us or something? Maybe they can, who knows? Expand business ties. Our GDP growth will grow. That will increase. Construction progress. Research bonus for industry. Special Forces Shishke declared war on Council of the Russian Republic. In Muscovian darkest times, Operation Zone St. Petersburg has robbed SS Action Gruppe, Muscovian of Destiny's Blessing. So they're unifying. They are unifying, though this is just That's just hell. There's so much war in the world right now. Oh, looky, Amur is reclaiming territory. A new pilgrimage. These guys are much more... The Urumata district much more dangerous, so they might then turn on Amur anyway and take them down. Okay, it's January. Welcome to 1964, and we can take the next naval doctrine. Carrier organization and sortie efficiency. That one looks good. Strike groups. A captain is the king of his own vessel, but our captains must know how to work together to achieve victory. Within each fleet, our ships will be assigned to strike groups, working together with programmed efficiency to dismantle the enemy in detail. So sortie efficiency plus 10%, organization plus 10. A new pilgrimage. Donghui has spent the past year in the hills around the Yellow River, patrolling with a small band of liberators for the corrupt Japanese who had run his country like a plantation. The Najua was splintered across the wide plains of Manchuria, and few cells hidden deep in Korea's remaining forests and villages. Radio messages told of a mid-level Japanese officer residing near the Paektu mountain. As one of Korea's greatest symbols, the rebel felt the death of his foes at its base would be a fitting end for another cog in the machine that raped the lands belonging to him and every other Korean in subjugation. Peering out from an outcrop, he saw a long line of cars near the mountain. "Sir, they don't look like IJA trucks to me," one man spoke. Don't we snatch the binoculars and look at the men getting out? Not just men, families. Following the trail was a sign written in Korean and Japanese. "Welcome to havens, lake, campgrounds, and cottages." His face began to redden the more he looked. Cheap rubbish bins scattered about, tacky homes by the sacred lake, and smoke from various points. Campfires. A sanctified place turned not even into a museum, but a tourist locale. He began to weep, his spare hand reaching for the old pistol he kept by his side, the groves familiar to his touch. He had dedicated his life against the Japanese, and they have become so secure they vacation in this country. But he... He could only watch as Paektu, the spiritual home of Korea, became yet another spot for the oppressor to make money. Truly nothing is sacred. Il territorio militare algerino declarò on el comando militare algerino. The Algerian War. According to local reports, hostilities have begun in Algeria between Italian and Iberian troops, as military forces from both sides have begun to mobilize. While no declaration of war was officially made by either country, it seems like a new war has begun in the Algerian deserts, and the victor will claim the entirety of the country for themselves. Nominally still controlled by the French state, Algeria was de facto divided up between Italian and Iberian spheres of influence after World War II, as settlers from both countries made their way into the interior of the country. Now, as complex webs of alliances between the two rival powers, native organizations, and Payets Nur Mutas have shifted into war, two former allies are at each other's throats over domination in the Western Mediterranean and over Algeria's vast oil reserves. Hopefully the conflict won't escalate. The hard times are yet to come. Mr. Nakamura, a hard-working father of two girls, dragged his feet through the door of his small home silently and with dread. He shrugged his coat off and threw it on the rack before pinching his nose and leaning against the closed front door. His family were distracted in the house, but he was suffering with panicking heartbeats and singeing anxieties as he curled up in the dark corner of his home. As a result of recent economic chaos raging through the empire, he was one of the countless salarymen fired without a moment's notice, as his employer sought to make cuts to survive, leaving him without a job or stable income. The news hollowed out his chest when it was broken to him, and the thought of telling his family that they could no longer pay the bills was killing him in every breathing second. They had very little savings. It would mean defaulting on the mortgage and going homeless. 2 beautiful children and his loving wife in the streets because he couldn't look after them, he thought, defeated as his eyes glossed over. Barely pulling himself together, Mr. Nakamura crawled out of the darkness of the hallway shadows and into the living room to embrace his daughters and kiss his wife. He held them tight, knowing that they were all he had left in this world. The walls of the room looked alien to him, as he understood they wouldn't be his for much longer. His lips quivered and throat stiffened. They would have to find out soon that he felt them as a father, as a husband, and as a man. It has been a bad day at work. Our poverty rate will begin to worsen. Economy is falling pretty rapidly now. Inflation, debt, everything is just bleak. Even the reconstruction of the Philippines is bleak. And we have 6 days. Yeah, we have just like 8 days. Yeah, the progress is happening when the effect is removed. It's not gonna happen before, it's gonna happen after. So yeah, we won't manage. We will be short on political power. This is bad. Red Revolution in Greece. The chaos that had engulfed Greece in the aftermath of the Second Italo-Turkish War has reached its climax with the fall of Athens to partisans of the National Liberation Front, EAM. Speaking from the presidential mansion, now pockmarked by bullets and blackened by mortar fire, leader of the EAM, Aris Velochiotis, promises that this would be the birth of a new Greece. The battle-hardened guerrilla leader spoke of the depravity of the Italians and their collaborators, and suggested that the reckoning would be in order once the country was secure. First, however, he warned his countrymen to prepare for war. We have triumphed, but only against the tools of our oppressors. We must now ready ourselves to face all that our oppressors can muster against us. The forces of reaction will screech against us, and yet we shall emerge free. A showdown in the Mediterranean. Oh, goody goody. Okay, we'll get a new hand in the House of Cards. This is not great. It's not great. Escape gets the event verdict. It had been a good run. Earlier this morning, his Douglas A-26 had dived low, loosening its payload over an Indonesian patrol boat. When the accompanying escort ship opened fire, he circled back and strafed the deck with machine gun fire. Blood pooled and dripped down the bullet holes, stark against the gunmetal grey. It was a successful sortie. The invader was a sweet, deadly ride. On his way back, however, his gunner reported that the bandit was on their tail. Fast. Shit, he said under his breath. How did these bastards get their hands on one of those, anyway? The gunner gave an unseen shrug before the autocannons were loosed, drumming a rhythm of calamity. Get back to your station, he hissed. He dove low again onto the vast expanse of green and blue below. Gunfire and ordnance tore through the fuselage, machine gun joining the autocannon thumbs in a chorus of explosions. A scream echoed behind him through the craft, then stillness. All he could hear were the twin engines, rasping as if on the run. He could feel the heat rising in the cockpit, sweat lathering his coveralls, faint crackling of fire. A second later, as if on cue, the autocannons began again. They tore loose the port wing of the plane, and he began to fall, down towards the vast azure expanse below. The sun was a golden disk borne aloft amid the cresting, rising waves. God damn it all! He strapped a parachute and jumped out. As the land got closer, he popped the chute and sat adrift in the air, waiting for terminal velocity to do its work. He aimed for a clearing near the beach below, missing it by a few yards. Before he hit the ground, palm trees snagged the suspension lines of his parachute, stranding him a few feet above the ground. Once he cut himself free, he landed with a crack of his right leg. He screamed. He tried standing once he felt better, and fell on his face. He sat up, taking a deep breath. His hands fell to his side holster, empty. When they came for him, they asked for his name. He spat. "What's it to you?" he said, glaring. "Do it. End it already." A swift blow to the temple was what he received. Indonesian patrol also. Is this an American attacking us or something? I'm not sure, honestly. Yeah, so we finished it and we now do not have political power to do anything else. So we'll just sit here and wait. Which is sad. Speaking about it, then we can make a choice at what we will do and what we will not. So assist, they will get an extra GDP boost. Send in experts, get a research bonus. Expand. Okay, we're gonna expand business ties, definitely. That gives us a GDP growth. Promote their diplomacy. Demobilize militias. Regno d'Italia declared war on the provincial democratic government of Greece, and SPG Winners has robbed Operation Zone Paulsburg of Destiny's Blessing. This one is actually bad. Emergency price fixing. Lowers their inflation and decreases their GDP growth, but lowers their inflation. So that one will do as well. So let's do the business ties, the price fixing, and promoting the democracy. Those seem like they would give them a benefit even in a future crisis. The Odessa hostage crisis. Shocking news today from Odessa as guerrillas from the Ukraine insurgent army have seized control of a local Vomy office, taking the occupants inside as hostages. The office is the headquarters of Area Command 25 of the Sonderkommando Air, the group responsible for managing the interests of the Black Sea Germans residing within the Transnistria Governorate, which has also previously attracted anger from the neglected local Ukrainian population. In the wake of this situation, President of the Council of Ministers Penescu has announced a rescue operation with support from Germany to neutralize the terrorists and safely resolve the crisis. Furthermore, the mayor of Odessa, German Pantea, has announced a state of emergency in the city, taking effect immediately. Germania could not be reached for comments. Troubled news of a broken land. So, how's Amur looking? Oh yes, Amur is finally recovering. So Magadan is gonna crumble. But I'm almost 100% sure that Irkutsk will then come for Amur. So, it's not like we have won some major victory here. So how's the... Okay, we have really bad situation in... Okay, it must not fall below government stability. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Not bad at all. So once we get the new cabinet, we gain 10 extra stability. That is good. We've used the political power. Special Forces Shishki has robbed Military Behörde Oriol of Destiny's Blessing. War is hell. Operation Zone Moscow declared war on Notfallverwaltung Tischwin. And Paulsburg has robbed SPG winners of Destiny's blessing. What is hell? Okay, so what I was saying is that we will start with the situation, but I'm thinking that we need to start with the reforms. So which one is looking like the best one to do first? This one lowers inflation but lowers GDP growth, so that's 0.55% bonus for 35, but poverty rate and public approval decreases. GDP growth increased but lowered income taxes. Business taxes decrease. This one would be good. Privatize state assets. Public approval decreases. Reduce military spending. Minimum wage. Subsidize fuel growth. Reduce regulations. Rural electrification. These ones are expensive. I was thinking of starting with maybe this one. It helps poverty, agriculture, and lowers inflation. Then we might do this one. That's 50, but again helps with the poverty rate. Okay, so let's start with this one. Prop up the agriculture sector. We could do this one, but the income tax, how much is that? 16.9 billion. So yeah, we will lose 1.5% of that, which means we will lose more than $1 billion in income. We cannot do that. Okay, anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode where we read the verdict. But there's going to be another intermezzo episode right now, after this one, because we are now in 1964. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure it's going to be a pleasant reading because, oh yeah, it's going to be bad.